Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Blunt Atheist here. We're I'm going to be reading a article from Everyday Feminism and just kind of giving you guys my 2 cents on it. Make jokes on it, what you have it. Okay. I'll link this in the description in case you guys want to read it for yourselves. Just to preface this, most of the time, I'd be doing anything on everyday feminism or probably just most anything feminism. Uh, it's mostly incorporated with the social justice warrior mentality too. They pretty much intertwine. So if some of this seems just as much SJW as it does feminist, or lacking feminism and a lot more SJW, that's the good old everyday feminism for you. The article is named 10 Ways White People Can Stop Annoying People of Color on Social Media. When it comes to social media etiquette, we are still learning how to interact with each other while respecting boundaries and spaces we give ourselves. What has translated over straight from our in-person interactions are racist, sexist, ableist, micro and macro aggressions. How to navigate those? Well, it would help if folks with privilege recognize ways in which they are routinely demanding labor from marginalized people online. In regards to white folks and their anti-blackness, here is a list of 10 ways that can stop annoying people of color on social media. Number 1, stop acting surprised. When we post about racism, like being called racist names, racial harassment, feelings about being called racist things, or being racially harassed, stop saying you're shocked. Don't say, I can't believe this still happens. Don't tell us all the ways you're surprised, because you're either lying or you haven't been paying attention. Don't show us how much you don't listen when we talk with careless statements of shock. Think about what it says to us about how you see us before you say something. Well, like I pointed out when I was making this before, until I had a hiccup. I don't like this connotation that only white people can be racist. I know to the SJWs, they've they've made this thing about it where they say they basically made the meaning of what it is to be racist. They say it's power over prejudice with marginalization of a people because of one group of people like having power. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with this SJW description of what racism is. I still go by the dictionary definition of it's you think your race is superior, or you're doing or saying whatever you are to that person of color, or vice versa, to be racist. I don't agree with this. To me, I go by the original definition. Like if a black person were to walk up to me and call me a cracker, I'm sorry, that's racist. If or just an example, if 4 black guys were to beat up a white guy just because he was white, like that's racist. I'm so sick of this narrative that there's this prejudice over power, and because white people, have the majority of the money and the power, that that automatically makes people of color marginalized. uh, I view it like this: like, you're only as marginalized as you let yourself be. I mean, there's people of color that are judges, police officers. We had a black president. How marginalized is that? That's not marginalized. Yeah, to me, you're only as down as you let yourself be. Stop making things about you. Number two, when we share whatever racial flavor of racial pain we're in, don't proclaim that the white person you personally, what good white person you are, and go on to tell a story about that time you rescued a poor black child from the ghetto. We do not want to hear about that time you brought some jammy pants that gave 5 cents to an Indian or elephant in India or whatever. Just don't do it, because it's not about you personally, unless you personally caused the problem. If you want to tell your story about what a wonderful white person you are, take it to your own space, because we are not here for it. With this, I disagree, because anybody, no matter what color, creed they are, they're gonna have a story. There's ways in which maybe a Mexican person wouldn't want to hear about something a black person went through. Or, I mean, there's multiple examples. Like, this shouldn't just fit like people of color. Like, there's, I mean, honestly, I just don't like this stigma in general of this whole white privilege bullshit. Like I grew up poor to middle class my whole life. I would say I barely sustained middle class as it is now. Well, like myself, okay, I'm poor. My family, I would say, is middle class. So I don't get this white privilege. I've never experienced this white privilege myself. I think it's bullshit. Like I said, you're just as marginalized as you let yourself be. I mean, nobody forces you to live in the ghetto. Nobody forces you to be on drugs, any of that. You're just as downtrodden as you let yourself be. So this number two is just bullshit. Number three, stop saying not all white people. Say you come across a post on Facebook and there is a lengthy thread where people of color are going off about how terrible white people are. Don't be the white person to hashtag not all the thing. If you are personally offended by stereotyping and generalizations of a group of people, either sharing their pain or cracking jokes about whitey, calm the hell down. There is not a comment thread long enough full of things like, Becky, no, you singular good white person cannot be savior of whiteness. Like I said before, I equate this to like say it should be a people thing or a human thing. Somebody who's white should just who should has stereotypes and generalizations too. So it's just like, at the same time, this article is going to say, oh, white people shouldn't do this, but they're not going to say black people shouldn't do that on a white person's post, because people of color are just as guilty of this too. I sum it up with, I put it in the same thing as, like, it's like people that blame the opposite sex for how, like, they want to lump all of like what one person did to them is the whole opposite sex. Like, you know, like women want to say, oh, all men are like, you know, dirty pigs and they all cheat and lie, or and vice versa. And then to me, it's like when you make that statement, that it shouldn't be like you going after like one color or one sex. It's a human thing. It's not a color or sex thing. It's a human thing. I just wanted to put that out there. That bugs me. Stop interjecting your own experiences. Not all conversations need your stories about something tangentially related. For example, a group of black folks on social media is talking about hair issues. Maybe we're talking about things like little black girls being threatened with suspension from their school over wearing their natural hair or wearing braids. Maybe we're talking about living in a majority white cities and not being able to find certain products, whatever, mind your business. The time someone told a blonde joke that hurt your feelings, or the glossy lady rag article you read that says curly hair isn't serious. Please do not insert yourself. Stay in your lane. With this, I guess like why would you like want to let your get self so offended? Like, I mean, even if somebody who wasn't your color like did want to say something like about your hair, I mean, I guess it's your prerogative to let it, to let it hurt you, to let it hurt your feelings. I mean, that one's confusing to me. I guess that's the best I can say with that one. Stop policing language. If you don't understand a black colloquialism or other brown people slang, do not start yammering about in the defense of the English language how terrible slang is. It is among the most vibrant and ever-changing dialects of English language, so don't. If you don't understand, Google before you ask, or just deal with the fact that it isn't for you. With this one, I mean, seems just kind of silly. Like, I mean, like myself, like I use black slang sometimes. I understand it. So yeah, I guess it does make a good point. Like, yeah, look it up or don't use it if you don't know what it means. But like, I mean, there's people that use phrases from all you know races, like word dialects. So I mean, I know there's black people that I guess if you were to be like called labeled like an Uncle Tom, you'd talk like a white person. So I mean, I would say there's black people that are just as guilty of like using white words or words that people would consider white. Number 6, stop appropriating language and vocabulary. Quote Miley Cyrus or Katy Perry or somebody until blackness means more to you than 2 seconds of cachet or sass. Okay, so I guess they're saying like don't just assume all black people are the same way. I mean, I guess if you're gonna do that, then you're just racist. It'd be like just like if you were to assume all white people were the same, that's racist too. Start keeping your friends in check. Stop letting your white friends act like a-holes on your friend's post. You don't need to be confrontational. You don't have to ride to the rescue. you can say your friend to your friend, this is not appropriate here. I am sending you a message so we can talk. Handle your own people. Well, with the handle your own people thing, like, I mean, I guess what I'd like to say to these people of color then that think that way, well, handle people you're in your religion then. Like, I don't mean to stereotype, but there's a lot of black people that are Christian, and like I just seen this video on how this dude was upset that a bunch of Christians like bought into this bullshit of some people just said the world was gonna end, and yet they wanted to be like, well, that wasn't my version of Christianity that said that. Well, yeah, it was, dipshit. It's the same thing encompassing the same people that believe in the bullshit you believe in. Said the world was gonna end. Hate to burst your bubble. So with this, like, you want to say keep your people? Okay, why don't black people keep their own people in check then? Like, black black people would sit and say, like, they wouldn't want you to say, oh well, they have the majority of people in the prison and jail population. But that's true. You can look it up factually. They do it. I want to say it's like 70% of the prison jail population is African American. So it's like, I mean, if you want to say that, why don't you keep your people in check? Like, I love how they always want to talk about a white cop killing a black guy, but yet these black people don't ever talk about their own black people killing black people. You want to know who kills the most black people? Black people. So I guess that's what I have to say with that one. I mean, if you're going to sit and say white people should police their own people, then people of color should police their own people too. Don't sit and ask us to, like, okay, me as a white person, I'll say us to do something that you're not going to do yourself. Otherwise, it makes you a fucking hypocrite. Stop tone policing. If ignorance suddenly turns you into the sort of person who leaves 4 inches worth of a comment on a Facebook thread where you tone police, demand emotional labor, and refuse to do your own research, just stop. Your anti-black biases are making you perceive our responses as being aggressive, thanks to racist tropes like the angry black woman or black woman. There is nothing gentle about racism, and our response is don't warn subtly or in kindness in return. But okay, but that goes along with freedom of speech. Like, okay, you're going to choose to have whoever you have on your Facebook. And if somebody says something that hurts your feelings, you can delete or block them. You don't have to have them on your Facebook. And like I said, there's stereotypes towards every race. Chinese people, they got really, closed eyes, and, Mexicans is like, they all like to eat tacos and burritos, and I guess in my experience, like, no offense, there are a lot of loud black women. Now, am I saying every black woman is loud? No, but a lot of black women I've ever met have been loud. So to a point, it's like, I know people don't like, stereotypes, but if like, that's what I would say, like, about policing your people. Like, if you don't want negative connotations on the color of your people, then yeah, maybe put your people in check, like the last question said, so that, people wouldn't have a reason to say shit like that. Number 9, stop asking why we hate you. Do not ask why we hate white people. Just don't. Please stop. Don't condemn us if we decide to say not all white people. Please demand to a light on you for being one truly good white person. But okay, but if you're a person of color, you shouldn't hate all white people, just like white people shouldn't hate all people of color. Like that should just go along with your experiences and, you know, how you perceive the world. And you should only take like, you can't like judge the actions of one person of whatever color and just, you know, and just base label that all those people are going to be like that. That's discriminatory and it's racist and it's just unwarranted. Number 10, check yourself. If reading this list has you furiously writing up a long comment to explain to me how you're not the problem, how racism is bad, how I don't really know the struggle, if you are going to, in earnest, not all white women and or not all white people tell me you ain't ready. If you believe this is directed at you personally, it definitely is. I mean, I guess, like, I mean, if you're gonna get butthurt about what's on this article, then I guess, yeah, you know, I mean, myself personally, I wasn't. I find a lot of the times, and a lot of what's on Everyday Feminism or just feminism or SJW stuff in general, they don't see the glaring like turnaround, like how it could be turned around on them, or they don't really see like the discriminatory and racist ways that their own question kind of sounds. Like I did a video, I think on my last podcast, which is the Comatose Society podcast. Check that out if you guys want. Like, share, and subscribe that. Like I did a video on there, and it was about like police and black people and whatever. And just some of the questions on it where it was like, it's like the person writing it, it's like you almost sat there and wondered like did these people not see their own hypocrisy? It's just something I wonder, because it's like, to any of you that, like, I mean, I guess have a brain like me, and you sit and read through these questions, you almost see racism. Like, I mean, they say this is supposed to be stuff white people are supposed to correct about themselves, you know, to help people of color. But yet in some of these questions, like, you can almost see where it's racism that's kind of aimed towards white people in the very question, or the very summary before the question. I hope I'm not the only one that like sees this as I was reading them out. I hope you guys like this video. I'm gonna try to make it so to where I can actually put the article on my screen. I am still figuring this technology out. As you guys see, I make a lot of YouTube videos, just me talking. I am going to do that, but I am going to try to get more towards what a lot of the more popular YouTubers do, and say watch videos and critique them and stuff like that. I'm going to try to be improving my equipment and the way I do things. Now, if you guys would actually prefer that I just do, like, I pick a topic and I talk on them, if you prefer those, I'd actually end up doing more of those. But if you would prefer for me to make more of the switch, I'm definitely working on that too. I hope you guys like this video. Again, I've been the Blunt Atheist. Like, share, and subscribe this content. I'm going to start putting a PayPal donation in the links of my videos. If you guys would want to help support me, that would be awesome. This has been your boy, Sean. Peace.